solid than the usual foam. In the sunlight, they gleamed with an oily sheen, and matching antennae poked through the holes in his floppy fisherman hat. If I'd had any constructive criticism to give at all, it would have been that neither crabman had thought to cut similar holes in their oversized trench coats. As a result, their extra limbs were visible only as weird lumps beneath the fabric. Anyone who put that much effort into a costume really deserved to show it all off. The crabman's face, at least, was a creative marvel, and also the stuff of nightmares. Two wide, slightly glowing eyes had been set in the center of a disquietingly lumpy and otherwise featureless face. Hey, how do you even see through? I never got to finish my question, because he was already attacking. Fist of Legend came out when I was 6, but I didn't get to see it until almost 6 years later. That was my true introduction to Jet Li, 1,000 times better than his part in the Lethal Weapon movie or that one film with Aaliyah. As the end credits rolled on the DVD, I knew, as only a 12-year-old can truly know, that my destiny was to become the greatest martial artist the world had ever known. I swore to move to China, find a sifu, shave my head, and dedicate myself to the ancient arts of ass-kicking. Instead, my parents signed me up for Taekwondo, taught in a strip mall just a few miles from our house in Chula Vista. I muddled through classes for a while, waiting for my promised destiny to materialize. But it turned out training was really hard work. Or maybe I just wasn't all that talented. Either way, whatever dedication I had to my craft went right out the window when I turned 13 and finally discovered girls. It would be another few years before girls discovered me back, and even then it was more of a bemused awareness that I existed than any sort of tangible interest. But that's not the point. The point is that my dream of becoming a martial artist had amounted to little more than 6 months of learning to bow and one failed test for yellow belt. So when I dodged the incoming pincher, it was pure luck, not skill. In truth, I stumbled backwards, tripped over my own feet, and very nearly ate concrete as I fell to the ground. This wasn't the first time someone had tried to jump me on the streets of Logan Heights, but the crab costume was a new touch. The only good news was that he didn't seem to be carrying a gun. If I could make it back to Comic-Con, security there would protect me. 2 miles was a long way to travel, especially for the 3rd time in one day, but given the bulk of the crabman's costume, I should have an edge in speed. A slight edge. I hadn't done much running in the 7 years since high school. Or during high school, for that matter. Or really any time since I was 6. As these thoughts raced through my mind, far faster than my purely corporeal body could ever hope to manage, I rolled to one side and scrambled back to my feet. The crabman lunged for me again, but I was already running full steam back in the direction I'd come from. Unfortunately, I'd forgotten that there were 2 crabmen. I bounced off the second enraged cosplayer and went down hard. Whatever that shell was made of, it was solid, and the man in the costume was built like a linebacker. That too wide mouth opened under his lump of a face, and he screeched, showering me in spittle. I crab-walked backwards, too scared to even appreciate the inadvertent pun, only to bump into the lower feet of my original attacker. My position gave me a spectacular view right up the now-open trench coat of my attacker, and I could see those extra limbs wriggling in a manner that defied modern cosplay technology. He raised one of his hind legs, preparing to bring it down upon me like a ketchup-colored spear. In that brief but endless moment, I was forced to accept the truth that was, quite literally, staring me in the face. There's just no way these guys are human. I'd spent my entire life avoiding the Pacific Ocean, but that was because I got seasick even standing on a pier. Nobody had ever warned me about